Okay. Call to order the regular meeting of the Tracy City Council at 6:30 PM on Monday, January 27th, 2020. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would do the invocation, please.
Lord, thank you for this evening. Thank you for the good weather and that everybody is here tonight in good health. We pray for the success of this board. As the representatives of our city meet and make decisions, we pray that you give them wisdom, that you give them communication with each other, and help them to have discernment about important topics that would affect the people that live here. We do thank you for our area of the country and our country as a whole. Thank you for all the freedoms that we have because of where we live. They help us to be thankful of everything, big and small, and to spend time and priority on the people specifically that you put in our lives around us. We thank you for everything you do for us. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, everybody get a chance to read over the minutes.
Second.
First and second. Any questions, corrections, discussion? Go ahead and vote.
Teagues.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers.
Aye. Minutes are approved as written. Do we have any further changes to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, we have an addition, actually 3 additions here. 12B under resolutions. Resolution 2020-6 for approval of the sale of EDA property. And then under 16, Mayor and Council Communications, we have just a change in appointments there from the last meeting. Appoint myself as Deputy Administrator and appoint Diane Campbell as Deputy Clerk. They appointed her as clerk earlier this past 2019, so we're just gonna make that correction. That's all I have.
Move approval as amended.
I'll second. Go ahead and vote.
Teagues. Peterson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers.
Aye. Agenda is approved as amended. Identify any conflicts of interest this evening. Hearing none. Public comment. Anybody from the public have anything to say? Okay. We're going to jump ahead to department head reports. We have the public hearing at 6:45. So, Val, do you want to start us off tonight?
Sure.
Okay, well, we have all our paperwork submitted for the grant for the basement, and it looks like that has come in now, so, which is good. Now everybody can sleep at night again. And also submitted the other report to the foundation that gave us the money for the furnishings. So we're all finished there. Working on now getting a new laptop and a Blu-ray player to work with our projector downstairs. I'd kind of forgotten how old our laptop was, so it doesn't work very well. Our winter reading program is underway. We'll be working on the state report that we have to complete every year here pretty soon. I think I can start at the end of this week. We've got some more interest in people using the basement now. We had a study club meet there a couple weeks ago, and I had some Girl Scouts come over last week, so it's nice that we're getting some interest from the community now in people using our new basement. So we encourage anyone who would like to give us a call.
Is there, I know it's a library, is there any any way it can be classified as a educational, like an EDU? Do you do any classes or teach reading or anything like that?
We have worked in the past with like adult basic ed on offering some things. We had like a iPad class. We've done some, mostly it was technology-based classes that we've offered in the past. But yeah, we would certainly be willing to work with people on that.
Well, the reason I ask is I know that there are some federal programs where they donate computer equipment,
Okay.
be it laptops or towers or, but of course, with every government program, there's restrictions.
Right.
And I believe it's restricted to educational. So I was just wondering if there's,
Yeah, I've found the same thing, and that's why Rob, who used to work at the library, he now lives up in Inver Grove Heights, but he actually started a charity to get computers just to public libraries, specifically smaller ones that have tighter budgets. And he's actually working on getting us that laptop and Blu-ray player that we need. So
oh, great.
yeah,
Great.
so
Okay.
it's nice to have that connection. And yeah, he's working with other libraries around the state and trying to get around the country. So
Yeah, if you would, shoot me an email and maybe we can talk about
Sure.
Exploring some of those other avenues and maybe getting some other equipment in there too.
all right, absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyone else?
Questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Pam?
So we had a good month and a good year. Actually, December sales in 2000 for December were 64,514. In December of 18, they were 55,244. So it's an increase of about $9,200 and some dollars in sales. Our profit and loss, we had a just under $11,000 profit for December. And that's including paying for $4,000 of the second half of our POS system and about a $2,000 loss for the theft that occurred. So for the year, we ended with a profit of $46,789. And the beginning inventory in January of 19 was $70,000. Ending was about $100,500. So it's $30,000 more in inventory for the year. So we're doing really well for that. If you look back, 2017, we had roughly about a $42,000 or $43,000 negative. In 2018, December was just about broke even, and then this year we have a $46,789 profit. So we're on the right road. We had a holiday tasting that went well in December. We got some more information and stuff for the new liquor store, some more information on the signs, and we're the committees keep going with the new liquor store, the difference for like the building siding and that kind of thing. We got our new POS system, it's up and running, still learning what it can do for us. We also have our customer loyalty program up and running, still collecting names for that. Customers have had a good response for that. And as always, look forward to hearing any comments, questions, or concerns. Anybody have any questions?
What is your loyalty program?
So when a customer comes in, we just take down their name, address, phone number, birth date, and email. Because eventually I'd like to be able to, like for everybody has a November or birthday, like in a certain month, be able to like double points or discount off or something, and when we get everything rolling. But so anytime somebody purchases anything, they get a point per penny. When they reach 50,000 points, then they get a $5 coupon back. So just to build customer loyalty and keep people coming back to Tracy.
So
For
like,
shopping.
that's not a manual thing, is it? Or do you put it in the?
We type in their name and address for the first time. And then the computer, we just type in, like on the front register, you just type in their name, it automatically calculates their points and that kind of thing. We don't have to do that. And then it'll pull reports, like if you want email addresses so you can send out, like when we're having tasting events, you can send people notices on an email, or it'll print out like the birthday list and that kind of stuff for us. Actually, when we had the auditors that were there for like our inventory, he was really excited about the customer loyalty program. But I think he kind of had a background in marketing, so he was kind of like all for that idea, but
So is it kind of in the customer's hands though, when they purchase something, that if they've given you their information to just say, remember to put this on?
put that on my, or we a lot of times will ask, are you in our customer loyalty program?
So you don't have a card or anything like that? Okay.
I mean, you just type in their name or their phone number, and then we don't have to have the expense of handing out cards that people try to have to hang on to and that kind of thing.
They'll never have it with them.
Yeah.
So I
So
can
it's
just
like-
give you a phone number and know you'll take care
Add
of it.
your name. Yeah.
You can give them mine.
Yeah. If you can't remember yours,
We have one guy that's qualified for 2 coupons already, but. Just said-
Dave.
I know. Any questions?
Just so everyone in the council knows that insurance, we did have
Oh,
a
I'm sorry.
rider on the theft. The insurance did kick in. So we were only responsible for $250 instead of, like, ended up, I think the total cost was like $1,900.
1,900.
Between the
Have that on hand
damages
for
for
that.
key and locks and not counting any police this time, but.
do we have any anticipated opening on the highway?
Well, right now, what we're going to do is put it on the agenda for the next council meeting and bring more of a
A plan.
timeline and a plan
Okay.
to present to the council and then to the public, so they kind of know where we're at with
Okay, that'd be
the
good.
progression. Because it's been a while since we've given any kind of a report, so that's
Great.
our intention, is at the next meeting, we'll be prepared.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just,
No.
No, we talked about it.
I
at
mean, that's
our
why I
meeting.
looked at her, because we just talked about that today. So yeah,
Okay.
it's just to say we just talked about that.
all right. Anybody else got any questions? Thank you. Can you do it in 3.5 minutes?
Yep,
All right.
I can. December and January for the Tracy EDA. List a few things here. Taking calls about the upcoming Small Cities grants, along with another round of paperwork, helping some people fill out their applications. I can give you a little bit of an update on that. As of early or middle of last week, there was already 7 people that were approved for the applications that were sent in. So they were well above, or well up in front of the pace that they were looking for. So we had also some other people that were disqualified for now, but they're not in the Section A. If you remember, there was in Section B. So those people will be right back into the system as of August of this year. So those will pop in there. So they were real happy with the 7 being qualified right now, with a few applications sitting on their desk. If anybody has any questions on those, you're more than willing to, or more than happy to answer those questions if you get a hold of me. Multiple trips to Orchard Lanes with miscellaneous small projects going on at Orchard Lanes. Next one on the list there is keeping the ball rolling on Broad Acres Housing Project. If you haven't had a chance lately, go out to the corner of Center Street and Pine Street at that Broad Acres project. You know, if you remember right, we put about $52,000 into that whole block there, and right now we've already gotten back 20 or 50,000 of that back in what we've sold in the lots out there, and we still have 2 lots for sale out there. And if you think about it, there's one twin home that's already gone up out there, and there's another one that's going to be started. There's already been a down payment and everything, so that's going to be up, we're hoping, by July also. Kind of what I went over with the developer this past week when we did a little open house out there, is that if we can fill one of the other sides of the first 2 twin homes, he would consider buying the 3rd lot right away. So that would put another $25,000 back into into the coffers too, and we'd have another one sold, which that would be great progress. So we'd have all the money we put into it and some. So that's good news. If you get a chance and if you want to, give me a call. I'll walk you through the twin home out there. They're beautiful. They're huge. It's going to be a great addition to the housing here in Tracy. Just a quick update on the 106 3rd Street. As you've seen in the papers, we do have a potential owner. Right now, we're just working on the final paperwork and getting that through. So that shouldn't be the EDA property for very much longer. Attending EDA and all council meetings, Planning Commission, liquor store meetings. The EDA has okayed for me to go to a public finance seminar, which is early, actually middle of next week is when that's coming. We'll be talking about a few of the things that I had sent out to the council here, talking about abatements and TIF programs and that type of thing. So all those are things that we're going to be looking at in the near future here in Tracy, but I'll be going to some classes on those. Working on some projects with the hospital and school system. One of the ones with the school system I set in front of all of you up here that you can take a look at. It's something that we have talked about for quite some time, but it's really blossomed. Right here I've got 15 local businesses that are going to be talking to the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders at the Tracy area school on February the 19th. Well, right now I'm not finished with my list and we're at 20. I've been getting calls from 2-year technical colleges, not just one, not just two, but 3, that, okay, I can do it for you. No, they want to send their own people down here. So right now for sure there'll be 20 tables available. I wouldn't be surprised if that blossoms to 25 tables that we're going to need up there. And then there's other small projects that are going along. Any questions, just give me a call of anything that's going on within the EDA. But if anybody wants to see those that twin homes out there, give me a call and I will take you through them. Okay?
Questions? Thank you, Jeff. All right, at this time, we will open the public hearing for the sale of property owned by the EDA.
What this is, Mayor, this isn't I can tell you that there is no purchase agreement. There is no, we've had several, since the EDA itself has talked about selling and getting out of the real estate business. When I got here a couple of years ago, we've talked about that. We got rid of the 5th Street 8-plex. We got rid of the 3rd Street, the Eastview 8-plex. And I said, well, since we own the O'Brien Court also, is that something that we want to put on the market? And the EDA had decided that would be something that they did want to do. So there's been some long talks with not only Sanford, because if you don't know it right now, we have a lease with Sanford on that. That runs for the next 3 years with a couple more 5-year lease potentials in there. But we've worked very closely with Sanford and back not only here but in Sioux Falls. And we've come to the agreement that if it's good for the city, it's good for Sanford, good for Prairie View, good for the people for sure who work or live there and work there at O'Brien Court, that we can go ahead with it. Again, there is no purchase agreement. Anything available, one does not exist. But we've had several parties that have talked about it. One of the things that we will do as an EDA and myself is we will take a look at, when we find the right potential owner, there'll be a development agreement, a purchase agreement on what we want in that building. We want it to be ran just the way it is right now. That's a partnership between Prairie View, Sanford, and O'Brien Court. And if we can't find that particular person that's willing to do that as a team, then it won't get sold. And we have with Sanford right now, we have a lease with them. That's not going anywhere. So we want this to be a win for Sanford, a win for the residents, a win for the employees there, a win for the EDA, a win for everybody. And when we find that person or that group, then we'll sell it and bring that to the city council. But what this is in front of us is just a resolution that talks about, we've already approved it through the EDA, but now it needs to be approved through a resolution through the city council since it's EDA-owned property. Anybody got any questions for me?
I just want to clarify for the folks at home watching, the priority here is to protect the residents in the event of a sale.
Absolutely. there's a couple things that the EDA and the city council will be able to do with any potential buyer that will help secure that. And that will be in a development agreement or a purchase agreement. We're gonna make sure that it's the right thing for everybody, and if I didn't say it right, it's the residents out there are the ones that we wanna make sure that are taken care of the most.
Yeah, I think you said it fine, but I just wanted to reiterate that, because I know that a lot of folks in town, myself included, have relatives that live there.
Yep.
And that's going to be a primary concern of folks here in Tracy and, or that have family there, that in the event of a sale, that they would be protected. So I just wanted to make that very, very clear to everybody.
It's a wonderful facility that's gonna be around with the city of Tracy for a lot of years to come, whether it's owned by the EDA or it's owned by someone else. We just want to work with that group.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything to say?
Anything, what I can answer, I will, so.
Not right now.
Okay.
Anybody from the council got any questions further? Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, so at this time then, hearing none, we will close the public hearing on the sale of the property owned by EDA. And we'll move back to the normal meeting. Does anybody on the council have any comment or anything to say on that?
The only thing there is to say, it's been well thought out. The EDA board approved it 6-8 months ago. People were looking for a sale with it, and the condition was it was to be used for what it's being used for. There are a couple people make offers on it, turn it into apartments. We didn't even consider that, so that's the big thing. And we need, the EDA needs to be out of the real estate business. Be holding properties anymore.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. What do we got next? Public Works.
So I would, just for Jeff's sake, then, that if there's no one else, I would make a motion to approve resolution 2020-6 for the sale of the EDA property.
First and second, any further discussion? Go ahead and vote.
Jones?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Teigs?
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers?
Aye. Resolution 2020-6, approval of the sale of EDA property passes.
Thank you.
Okay, now Public Works and Airport.
Yeah. Okay. I just got a text saying they can't hear you on that end, so.
Can you hear me now?
They couldn't hear Tony, that's,
That's unusual.
yeah.
Okay, report. I don't know if anyone had a chance to look at, kind of summarize everything. It's been 2 months, so I try to keep it on one page, but been moving the same snow multiple times with the different wind directions, but liquor store is making progress again now that we got a little lull in snow events, and a whole bunch of repairs. We did get our tractor back late this afternoon, covered under warranty. Hangars, that's a big one. So when we start talking about project at the airport, I know some of them have to be done prior to getting new hangars, but I've shown hangars to 3 different interested pilots, but none of them can get them in there because of the tail heights. We don't have 8-foot doors out there, so that's our hurdle we got to cross here coming up. And I know they're planning on doing site work yet this year potentially, so it's getting hard to keep our 10 out there with not being able to get any planes in there. So or not, just working on a lot of year-end paperwork. DNR, MPCA, USDA. I spent several days last week in FEMA. FEMA 2018 brought a bunch of stuff to light, and I'll be working on 19s this week, so hopefully eventually that'll be the end. But 18's coming close, with the exception of the fire truck, so I haven't heard anything else on that. That's going to be a little bit of a fight, but 2019 is got one part of it done, and then they kind of want to work one section at a time instead of throwing it all at them, and then they'd ask for bits and pieces here and there. It's real hard to go back and backtrack that and find the right invoices, so it's actually working out better that way. But any other questions?
On the hangar, Shane, the people you talk to, do they currently have them based at another airport somewhere, or is there any way we could?
I've been trying to tie tail numbers to, if they want their foot in the door for the new hangars. I do have one that he's renting. They just do a flip-flop when they, another pilot out there when they come, but the other ones just, there's no way of getting them.
Are they, and then again, it's probably deeper in the woods, but are they some of those same people who signed the letters of intent if we built the hangars?
Some of them are, yep.
If they haven't, could we get them to?
It's just if they're tied up in another airport.
Right.
I'm working on one now that'll put us back to 10. I mean, we had 10 a couple of months ago, and then one.
Yep.
We had a second one drop out. He's having problems with hanger rash because his fit's so darn tight in there. But he said I have to go to Marshall for the best of my plane.
Yep.
And of course they want to claim them up there, so they're kind of juggling the numbers around, but we have a potential one that I've been talking to here in the last. Started talking like Friday last week, so.
Because there's no requirement that I'm aware of being able to find out that you can register that tail number at the airport.
It's just if another airport already claimed it. And
Right.
I was there, but
Are we gonna get a chance to build the hangars this year?
so right now in
One
the
of them,
plan,
yeah.
if all goes well in the plan, they'll start the site work for 2021 construction. Is how it's sitting now, so. But yeah, whatever we can do to keep this moving, it's gonna be the best for the airport. So we wanna keep that federal funding,
Right.
so.
All right, that was my question. Thank you.
You bet. Chief
Okay,
Lichty
anybody
had
else?
Another event tonight he had to be at. He laid the port report down in front of you. If you have any questions on that. You got a big event at the fire hall tonight with area chiefs and some politicians there too, legislators.
There's some good smiles, right?
Yeah. I'm just glad we're still fully staffed.
Yep.
Plenty of animal complaints. All right, anybody got, well, if you have any questions, you're gonna have to direct them to the chief or Shane, but
Fair enough.
did we get anything from fire?
No, according to them, he's doing them quarterly. I know he had one at the last meeting. The last agenda had one on it for.
Yeah, he was doing quarterly reports, yep.
Okay. Is there anybody else? Have I missed any? All right. We'll move on to petitions, requests, and communications. Conflict of interest, UCAP board member for Small Cities Grant, Eleonora Monson.
I'm going to explain this to you as simple as I can due to I have probably 15 pages worth of emails back and forth, so I'm going to summarize this for you. But we have somebody who applied for the Small Cities Grant Program here in Tracy, and they are actually on the UCAP board. So this needed to be announced to the public, and that there is somebody that's on the board in Marshall on UCAP that is applying for the Small Cities Grant here in Tracy. A couple things that need to be done and need to be said tonight. There was a list of 4 things. One of them was fill out a conflict of interest interview, which is taken care of, which I believe you have in your packet. I needed to get an attorney's opinion stating that the interest of which an exception is sought would not violate state or local law, and then also evidence that there has been a public disclosure of the conflict. A copy of the council minutes is what I'll get from Diane once we get it signed here in a couple of weeks, and then I'll bring that into UCAP. I was told that I needed to read this. This is a little bit lengthy, but I'll try to get through as quick as I can. This would be from legal, Matt Gross. From my review of the application documents, Ms. Monson is applying for a Small Cities Development Grant to improve, repair her home. The conflict that has been identified results from Ms. Monson being a board member of the United Community Action Partnership, which administers the Small Cities Development Grant Program. No conflict of interest exists with Ms. Monson and the City of Tracy, so long as none of the council members are related to her or would gain any financial benefit or incentive as a result of approving the grant to Ms. Monson. I'll just stop right there. What it goes along with it, the council, not even the EDA board, is going to be the ones that are going to be approving those. Those are going to be taken care of. The approvals are going to come right from UCAP anyway. So it's all going to be taken care of on your end. But it had to be announced here in public that there was a potential conflict of interest, but according to Matt, there's really, for the City of Tracy, there is no conflict. Questions on that? It was pretty simple. It just had to be city government.
Does it require a motion or
Nowhere, no one said anything about a motion or anything. It was just a put it out into the public. Yep,
Acknowledgement
that's it.
that-
Does it hurt to do just in case it was needed and I missed that? Does it hurt to do a?
Well, I'd make a motion that we approve Ms. Munson as not having any conflict of interest with the City of Tracy UCAP grant.
I'll second.
Okay, first and second, any other questions or discussion? Go ahead and vote.
Tiggs?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers?
Aye.
And the name was announced because that Eleanor Monson it was announced too. I just want to make sure that was out there because that needed to be today. Okay.
Okay, so motion
Thank you.
passes. Gambling permit request, St. Mary's Church, March 29, 2020 to September 11, 2020, and December 20, 2020.
A lot of 2020.
Make a motion.
Yep.
I'll second. Questions or discussion?
This is an annual thing they do, so.
All right, go ahead and vote.
Jones?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Tiggs?
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers?
Aye. Gambling permit request for St. Mary's Church for said dates is approved. Information on presidential nomination primary.
So, the Lyon County Auditor's Office asked that we get this information to the council and, more importantly, the public, so that they know the differences between this election and every other election that they vote at. The presidential nomination election has not been held since 1992. Prior to that, it has only been done 3 times. One in 1916, 1952, and 1956. Any voter that comes to vote at this election has to designate a party. They cannot vote if they do not designate a party. Every voter will be given a Tennyson warning, as their party affiliation will be available to the party chairpersons after the election. So when they come to vote, their party affiliation will be very private. The judges will handle it in such a way that the people behind them will not know what ballot they're getting. However, once the election takes place, their party affiliation will be made public to the chairperson of the different parties. As far as absentee voting goes, and again, this is mainly for the public's information, they will receive 2 ballots. One for the DFL, one for the Republican. The Grassroots Legalization Cannabis Party and the Legal Marijuana Now Party has dropped out. So when they get an absentee ballot, they're going to get 2 ballots, one for Democrat, one for Republican. They need to vote on one of them and destroy the other. So people, when they get their absentee ballots, are going to be very confused by this. So we just want to make sure that the public knows when you get these ballots, you will only be voting on one ballot, not both of them. There will be a healthcare facility election, absentee judges that will go to the healthcare facility so that those people will have an opportunity to vote as well. So if you are at a healthcare facility, talk to the workers there. They can get you in touch with an absentee ballot application, or 2 judges will be coming to allow them to vote. And they will take care of the absentee ballot application and getting the voting done and all of that for them. So if they are interested, there will be somebody that will come to their facility to do that. Pre-registration will end February 11th. So if you are not registered and you want to vote at this election, if you pre-register prior to February 11th with the Lyon County Auditor's Office, your name will be on the roster, and you won't have to do any of that the day of. So if somebody in the public is not registered and they want to vote, it's a lot easier to register prior to that, prior to the election day. You can find these forms on our website, the City of Tracy website. We have a link to the Secretary of State's website, and all of the forms can be found on that website. So otherwise, just call our office, 629-5528, and we can certainly assist you with that. The sample ballots are hanging up in our hallway here at City Hall, and they can also be found on the Secretary of State's website. So if you want to know who's on that ballot or what your ballot will look like, those are 2 ways of finding that out. The city will be reimbursed for the ballots, the judges' wages, if we have to remove snow that day as a result of the election, any publication, the programming of the equipment, the state will be covering all of those costs. So they will not be costs directed to the city. Another plug, the primary is coming up on August 11th. And the general election will be held November 3rd. If anybody out there is interested in being an election judge, please contact City Hall, and we will get them the information that they need to make that happen. So, a lot of information, but do you guys have any questions?
Is all that information on our website?
It's on the Secretary of State's website,
And we have the link.
and then we have the link on our website.
Okay.
Yep. Yep, again, or they can call us, call me at City Hall, or they can get a hold of Lyon County. Lyon County handles all the absentee voting. So if anybody wants to absentee, that does need to go through the county for that.
Anybody got any questions? All right. The Aquatic Center boiler.
I'll make this quick so Chris don't have to wait any longer. So on our lap pool, which is the big pool, the end of the year last year, the heat exchanger sprung a leak. The cost of this is more than half the cost of the boiler. The rest of the boiler is about ready to rust to pieces. We kept it going. I think it died in the last week of the pool being open in August. So before we get too close to the startup of that season, to come here before we know it, I'm just looking for approval to purchase a new boiler. Pretty much the same thing that's there. Really isn't much of an update as far as energy goes compared to what we have, but it's just shy of 20,000, but there's going to be some miscellaneous pieces to retrofit it for the boiler. It is budgeted in the 2020 budget under the aquatic center, but due to the cost of it, the dollar figure, I kind of want the council's approval for this. So
I like the last line. We've been limping it along the last 5 years. There is no hope for it anymore.
no, you'll look at it and you'll see it pretty obvious, but to say 6 to 8 years because of the chlorine that runs through them. This one's a 2000, I think it's 2000, 2001. It was in the old pool for 2 years before the new pool was built, so. And it was outside for 2 years.
I'd make a motion for you to spend the money to do that.
Second.
First and second, any other questions or discussion? Let's vote.
Teagues,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers.
Aye. And motion to purchase the aquatic center boiler is approved. Memo and preliminary assessment roll.
Thank you. There should be a memo included in your packet with a summary of the proposed preliminary assessment roll for the Phase 3A2 infrastructure project. We basically follow the same methodology as 3A1. I can go through the basics of it if you'd like, or if otherwise there'll be the public hearing we have scheduled for February 10th. I'll go through in more detail when the public is here.
You just hit the high points for the folks at home so they can.
Sure. So we start with the total estimated project costs, and this project includes some large diameter infrastructure for sanitary water and sewer. So we adjust the prices of those down to what would be the minimum size. Let's say you just lived at the end of a cul-de-sac. You're not going to have a big big 18-inch sanitary sewer. So we reduced the project cost down to the cost for minimum pipe sizes for the 3 utilities. And then we took off any grant funding the city was getting for any of these utilities. That lowers the total potential assessable amount. And then 30% of that is how we determine what the total, it's hard to find more words because they're at different stages, but we'll say again the total potential assessable amount is 30% of the amount we've already reduced down based on those other factors. And then that's allocated individually per property based on your front footage for surface improvements. So that's basically street, curb and gutter, sidewalk, per unit for sanitary and water. So it's just each lot gets the same for that particular component. Square footage for storm sewer. And then there's a little bit of an adjustment for corner lots. So you don't get 100% of whatever your footage is on both sides. There's a reduction for that second side yard footage. That comes up with a calculated assessment for each property, and then we capped it at a $7,500 maximum. So nobody's proposed assessment would be more than $7,500. And really on this project, most properties reach $7,500, and there's a few that there are some properties on the north side of Craig Avenue that just have a sanitary connection. We're not redoing the street in front of them or anything like that. Those are some lower ones that didn't get up to $7,500, and some other situations like that. So this project is a little more expensive on a per property basis compared to 3A because while it's quite a bit longer, and I know I quoted them in emails to you guys, but I think it's 30% more. Don't quote me on these. I can get you the numbers, but there's quite a bit more cost than 3A1 without that many more properties. So that's why more properties are hitting that cap versus the last project. If that makes sense. The lots really are just bigger than 3A1. It's 3A1 was a denser project.
But the
Sense.
cap was 7,500 for
Yeah.
that project too.
Right.
So it's the same cap.
Right, same cap. Yep.
This is consistent with what we've been doing.
Right.
Okay, anybody have questions? Discussion? All right, so you don't need a resolution or anything, do you?
Not a resolution, I guess. We kind of had the committee of Councilman Peterson, Mayor Dimmers, Shane, and I to kind of come up with this. We didn't want to just come to the council and say, let's do it exactly how we did it last time without at least taking a look at the numbers to see how they worked. But if we have kind of a consensus from the council, this is what we would present at the hearing on the 10th.
So, we need a motion to approve?
I don't need anything formal, I guess, you know, if you guys are,
So everybody knows about it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd make a motion to approve the memo on the preliminary assessment.
First and second, any questions or discussion on this? Go ahead and vote.
Jones?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Teagues?
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers?
Aye. Memo and preliminary assessment roll is approved as presented or written.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Any other questions for me, I guess, while I'm here on project status or anything?
Make the snow go away.
I'd like to.
Is there a, I know we don't know but a projected start time this spring?
No, yeah, as soon as weather's gonna allow, they're gonna wanna get at it. And this 3A2, we've had plans into rural development since July of last year. Haven't received any comments back, and we need that to be able to get approval into bid. So hopefully we get that sooner than later so we can bid in the spring here yet.
Okay.
So,
A little off subject, but still in your wheelhouse, where are we at on the decommissioning of the old pond?
we pumped what we could down. When I say we, Shane and Al, pumped what we could down in the fall, and then when weather allows, we'll pump some more, and then we need to get eyes on what's at the
We haven't
bottom.
done any testing on the,
We did testing before bidding just to see what kind of what's the word, element and like metal
yeah,
composition there was in the sludge itself. What we want to know now though is how much garbage, so like plastic stuff that doesn't decompose, how much is in there, and if it's concentrated, scoop that out and take it to the landfill, and that opens up what we can do with the sludge. But if it's all spread all over, we might be looking at having to landfill all of it. So we're hoping there's going to be some in there, of course, but sometimes just because of the currents within the pond, it accumulates in certain spots. But,
Gathers.
right, we don't know yet. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks. Let's see.
I made a motion for their request, but I should probably make a motion to approve or amend that motion to approve that resolution to 2025-5, 2020-5.
Yeah, I was just like, didn't we just do?
I just assumed.
Yeah, I didn't
Well,
say it,
but-
but now I said it, and that's what I meant, so.
Yeah,
We're
we
good.
need to be specific,
Second's
so.
still good.
Second's still good.
Approval, good.
Everybody, questions? Go ahead and vote that.
Okay. Teagues?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers?
Aye, resolution 2020-5 gambling permit for St. Mary's Church is approved. Consent calendar,
Motion to approve the municipal accounts payable without breaking beverage and sanitary health, the municipal accounts receivable, And charter minutes from 11:13.
Second.
First and second, questions or discussion? Let's vote it.
Jones,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Teigs,
Aye.
Dimmers.
Aye. Municipal accounts payable without Breakthrough Beverage and Sanford Health. Municipal accounts receivable and approved charter minutes have all passed.
Make a motion to approve any payment to Breakthrough Beverage.
Second.
First and second, go ahead and vote.
Peterson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers.
Aye.
Motion
Breakthrough
to approve
Beverage.
payments to Sanford Health.
Second.
First and second discussion. Vote.
Teigs,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers.
Aye. And Sanford Health is approved. Unfinished business. Proceeding with city administrator position.
So I pushed out an email Friday, kind of let you know what we had. If everyone had a chance to look at that. Just kind of see where you went and where, and if you'd want to move forward with any applications that we have. If you want to do a committee in-house, search firm. Right now we have 7 applications total. 3, almost 4 with a public admin degree of some sort, and 1 as a past administrator. So,
All fresh names or?
all fresh names. All over the globe. All in the US, so.
That's helpful.
All in this hemisphere.
Few from the state, so. Say if you wanted to look at them, I can get packets printed out if you want to go through them before the next meeting, or if you want to wait, see if we get any more in. Looks like I got 2 in the first week, and I got 5 last week. Just 2 were mailed, so.
Well, I'm thinking we could probably go through what we got.
If that's,
It's like the packets again and rate them, and it's like if we go through the packets and don't see anybody that we want to pursue, instead of waiting another 2 weeks or 3 weeks before we even look at them.
this open until filled, so I mean,
Yeah.
And if we only find one in that packet that we want to interview, we can wait for some more to come in, and but we might as well get on top of it. before the next- and before
I
the
agree.
next
I think we
meeting
want to
goes
keep
through.
moving forward. We don't want to stalemate here.
So if you can get packets.
I can
ready-
probably get them all ready by noon tomorrow.
Yeah.
That works for you.
And then we'll just make sure everybody gets them done before the next council meeting. Is that quick enough?
Yeah, that should be.
Or sooner, I mean, if you let Shane know that sooner to have it done, they can decide there, but
Yeah, if,
Does the council want to look over them, or do you want the same committee as last time?
I think everybody in the council should look at them, and then just rate them,
rate them and then
let your committee look at it.
we, just like we did last
So
time.
use the same people we had last time to look at them after the council rates them.
I think so, yeah.
That's fine, I guess.
That was,
So can we say by the end of this week, we could, or maybe by this coming Monday, we could have them done? So that then we could see how the rating did, and we would maybe have something more to bring to the council meeting? Because if we give until the next council meeting for everyone to look at them,
No, I agree with that.
I think you can do it sooner, I mean, if you got the packages ready by noon tomorrow, I'll be down at 1 o'clock to look at them.
minute of printing the forms and
Yeah.
getting the package printed off.
I think at the same time, though, we should look into one of the firms and see what the pricing is. I know, I talked with my son, who's on the council in Granite, they just use that Q Life to locate a,
I sent you all, that was late this afternoon, a list
Yeah,
of
there's like
firms.
to
3 of
locate
them.
their administrator, and they use that David Drown to locate their resource, the financial advisor. They've got a lot more revenue generating funds than we do, that's why they have a financial advisor. The councils over there were happy with both, but they said that the David Drown CU's website, if you go into how they look at their product, so to speak, it's there's a minimum of a 3-year average on keeping one that they have their hires, so it's.
I believe Drown has a 2-year guarantee.
Yeah, there's guarantees on some of them where if they
But-
quit in the first year, they'll,
I think that's one of the reasons their costs are higher.
more risk, yeah.
I think, yeah, we should all,
We used to get Kristen to have that, obviously.
We got the bare bones with, South Central Service Co-op out of Mankato. And they're on that list too.
Yeah.
so we should, everybody review what we have, and then the committee can go over that, and also look at alternatives. And-
That way, if something comes up and this isn't gonna pan out, and we don't get it, we've got, at least got, and
A
it might be
direction.
the time to pass the baton to somebody else and see what we can come up with.
I know search firms are good and bad as far as keeping administrators too, because
Yeah.
they sometimes steal administrators from cities and give them to others.
Yep.
Well, and that's what the plus side is to the 2-year, because their guarantee is if you use them and they find an administrator, and that administrator leaves after a year, they do the whole process over for free. So they're not gonna be headhunting the
No.
people that they've placed
For 2 years.
for 2 years. Yeah, that's right. So, but I think that way then the committee can then present options and choices from what we currently have. So we want to set that for, we want all that completed by Monday, close the business.
I don't know how, as far as the committee, if they want to meet Wednesday, that we did the last time on a Wednesday.
The
did.
following Wednesday.
The 5th. Then they can have some,
Then we have something by the 10th.
they could have some for the council meeting on the following Monday.
So everybody's review completed by the 3rd, committee meeting on the 5th, and then present on the 10th. Does that sound, everybody good with that?
Or you can do it quicker and the committee picks them for interviews and set the interview. That's to give you a week to set them up for an interview type thing. It depends upon your amount of urgency. Like I said, I have no problem with having it done by 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, my share of it. So
It's just a matter of,
when you want to take the time to get it done, then
So you're saying the committee could, after everyone ranks them,
yep.
could then set up interviews?
I would, yeah, you could do interviews the night of the 10th, or even earlier. What they did in Granite was they had 3 candidates that the company presented them. And they did an interview before the council meeting with 2 members, teams off the council with each individual, all individual. Then they whittled it down to 2 and did the interview in a public session and offered the job that night. So if you want to compact it,
Well, but I don't want to get too much in a rush. And I think the council should look at what the committee comes up with. And if we're going to consider alternatives as well, then that gives us an opportunity to, we may not, we may come up with 3 candidates that maybe aren't so favorable. And maybe we want to consider an alternate. And if we're going to do that, then doing everything slam dunking it,
you
you're
can
not
do
going to
that
have
in
time.
your ratings, saying I wouldn't consider interviewing X, Y, and Z, and then the committee reads that and says, well, okay, it's just,
Right, but that needs to
The
be brought to
effective
the
use of time.
council, because if we interview before or even at the next council meeting, they don't, then you guys don't have a chance to look over or consider an alternate.
not the committee interviewing. Everybody in the council reviews the packages and scores it. If they have an issue with an an applicant, leave a note on that score sheet, don't interview this guy.
Okay,
And then the review, the committee gets all those score sheets and says, all right, we got 7 here, only 2 of them passed the muster to get interviewed. Do we want to interview them or not? If you say no at that point, then you go on to your alternate course of hiring somebody else. But if you say, yeah, the committee decides we're going to interview these 2, and you set up the interviews. Whether you
For the
do it at a
day.
special meeting or you do it at a regular council meeting. That way we're not duplicating our efforts on everything. The council will be made aware if they take the time to sit and read the packages. So it
And
isn't,
then if we find nothing we like, then we go to.
then you go to plan B, yeah.
Plan B, finding an agency to help out.
So right now, the first step would be more or less, we have to just set a date if we want to say Monday, if we want to say Friday,
They have everything
to
ready.
have everything done.
Yep.
Now, Koo's not here, he's ill, so,
I would say give it a weekend for,
because I think a lot of times he does do it on the weekend because of his job.
yep.
So that's why I
That's
initially
fine.
said Monday.
I'm just saying that, it could be done if
But then we could meet Tuesday.
yeah.
I mean,
So
a
done by-
Tuesday versus a Wednesday doesn't matter.
Done by close of business Monday, and we can meet Tuesday,
Before.
the 4th.
And then you could, if you find candidates, you can set up interviews for the 10th, 11th, 12th,
Whatever.
whatever works.
Right. Okay,
And then if not, just ship out an email, we didn't find anybody.
We
that
didn't find
passed the
anybody, come up
muster.
with plan B and
Shane's
decide that
working
on the
Plan
10th.
B.
I guess the committee, we can decide when we want to meet, too, a quorum, so.
The main thing is everyone gets scoring done by Monday. And so the committee will be Mayor Dimmers, myself, and
Yep.
Shane again.
Shane.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I'm good with that. All right, so do we need a motion to that effect, or just that's informational, we're good with that?
I think information's good.
For now.
I think so as well, so. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Mayor and council communications. So this is where we omitted, or it was overlooked, I guess.
I kind of questioned it, but then it was
Last
kind of a
meeting,
mix-up, but.
yeah. So we want to set everything straight.
Yeah, so mid-year 19, it was Chris was still here. They appointed the deputy clerk as Diane Campbell, and then myself as like the deputy administrator per se. And 2.08 of the charter allows that, the deputy administrator thing, so that would create another signatory person when I'm gone. Otherwise, we'd have to find the mayor or mayor pro tem, and then they could put me as the printed signature. So on every check, there's supposed to be a wedding signature and a printed or 2 wedding signature, but one has to be a wedding signature.
Right.
So the alternative is I can make mine printed and the mayor or mayor pro tem would have to come in and sign the other half every day.
So I would appoint Diane Campbell as deputy clerk.
So move.
Second.
First and second. Go ahead and vote that.
Under discussion mode.
Oh, sure.
That, you hadn't had the ability to sign in the past, correct?
Me?
Right.
No.
And my only question is, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, is the segregation of duties.
She is out of the accounting part of it.
And that's, I just wanted to make sure that everybody was
Yep.
aware of
She's the
that.
only one right now in the office that could.
Right, no, and I assumed that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's a good
Yeah,
point.
it just, so we got
Folks need
everything
to know.
covered, so.
Yep. All right, so we'll go ahead and vote it.
Teigs,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Shunts,
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers.
Aye. So the appointment of Diane to deputy clerk is approved. I will appoint Shane as deputy administrator.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Let's go ahead and vote that one.
Teigs,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Shunts,
Aye.
Mayor Dimmers.
Aye. So Shane Daniels is approved as deputy administrator. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, any opposed? We are adjourned. Another meeting in the books.